What's up, brother? Welcome back, man. Welcome to Florida.
Welcome back to Florida, Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale.
You know, I actually only spent a year, in Fort Lauderdale. Like, out of the 5 years I was here, it was mostly in Miami.
Like South Beach and stuff, like downtown, or?
Well, I did, it was South Miami for 3 years, then a year in South Beach, and then a year in Fort Lauderdale. And Fort Lauderdale is for sure my favorite.
No way.
I mean, it was just because, like, it's less people. It's like a different, I don't know, slower kind of vibe. And then, like, the city of Fort Lauderdale is kind of weird because I lived downtown. I guess we're kind of on the outskirts of downtown, but it's right there.
We are in the outskirts.
Yeah. So, introduce yourself.
Oh, well, my name is Juan Rodriguez. I'm a Hands of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Blackbelt from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Yeah, I'm gonna speak up into the map.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I'm just excited to be here. Kind of have a good time.
Who gave you your black belt?
My professor, the person who taught me day in and day night, his name is Stan Beck. He's a black belt under Henso himself. He's from New York, which is where Henso opened his main academy, the headquarters, still in Manhattan. And he trained under Henso, all his jiu-jitsu career.
Where's he at now? Or where'd you train?
And it was Western Florida.
Okay.
Here in Western Florida, Broward.
Is that academy still there?
It is.
Okay.
It is. If I'm not mistaken, that is the first Renzo Gracie academy ever in South Florida.
Can we address why Brazilians use R's as H's?
And why we can. I don't have an answer though. It's hilarious.
And why all of the Gracies happen to be Hoyler, Hodger, Henzo, Hoyce.
Yeah, and like the history goes back that they were all named with names that started with an R or an H because of kind of like that speech accentation that you do, when you say that letter, because he gave it like power to your soul. So like that's why it was like Henso and Hickson, and like he had power.
I forgot about Hickson.
Yeah, all of them, all of the brothers, all of the cousins in that generation.
What's the one in the Gables? That one was close to me when I lived in South Miami.
That's Helion Gracie.
Yeah,
which is the youngest living son of the original Gracie, Carlos Gracie Sr.
Okay.
So he's like the son of Carlos Gracie, he's awesome. I've gone to his academy many times, and he's amazing. Him and his son Rogan now do an amazing job in headquarters.
Is it Rogan or Hogan?
It's Hogan. It's Hogan. Yeah.
That's gotta be so
it's
annoying.
Totally that. It's totally that.
They're all in the States now, right? Pretty much. So I'm sure they constantly have to deal with people, calling them with the R sound.
I think so. But I mean, they're also nice. First of all, they're also nice that they totally understand. I mean, a lot of them are as American as they are Brazilians.
Oh, for sure.
So they understand
the second generation, for sure.
And even the first generation. I mean, Henso's been here for like 30-something years, or, you know what I'm saying. But what I was going to say is I think it's maybe a distinction into, like, who are they talking to, right? If it's someone that's like, hey, Henso, or hey, Helion, I think they have a better understanding maybe of where they came from, if that makes any sense.
So, remind me. So, I listened to the parts of the podcast you were on. Was that the first one you've done?
Yeah. With Jason Chambers.
Okay. Did you enjoy it?
I loved it.
The setup. And is that a jiu-jitsu focused one, or is that?
No. He does a little bit of everything. He does some episodes that are like related to crypto. He's big into crypto. He has some episodes that are related to people that he knows in the martial arts that are well known in the past, and he had a show in I think it was a Travel Channel. So he gets all kind of people, but yeah, his setup is really nice. There's a producer there. They're helping you out. So it was a fun experience. He's saying that because the amount of setup that I have, especially with my traveling setup, and like at home, I have a better setup with better microphones, better recording system, and everything, but I don't have a producer either. So usually, like, I'm actually, I always have to like keep my eye on it. I want to be focused on the conversation, but I got to make sure everything's recording, because the last thing we want is to have a good conversation and then miss out on it. No, it's an intense amount of work that you do. It's impressive. I meant it in a good way. Over there, the Jason had the luxury of just sitting down and.
Well, you want to build up that way.
Absolutely.
But the intent of my podcast is I just want to talk to business owners like yourself. You kind of fit in like a two-prong mold of who I look for. which is someone who's running a business and also someone into fitness. And with jiu-jitsu, it's hard for me to discuss with people that have never done it. And I did it the last time when I was seriously doing it now, if I think about it, was 4 years ago, which is way too long. And I'm trying to get back into it. But it's so difficult. It takes so much discipline. It's like going to, it is a class, but like it's like a real class, like an educational class where I feel like if you miss one, you're behind, especially with the white belts, because then you learn a move and then you come the next time and then they're choking you out with it when you're rolling at the end of class.
Oh, it's definitely a wild ride. It's unlike most skills and most sports in the sense that it's something that is not challenging, that you have to learn and understand the theory and then like put the reps in to master the muscle memory. Like we know how important that is, but then to be successful at it, you have to perform this task with someone who doesn't want to be put in that situation, right. With a human being that might be more athletic, stronger, or even, understands jiu-jitsu better than you. So it's a quite challenging time to be a white belt.
Yeah,
a white belt is like you see a mountain that is so high that it's hard to comprehend.
Yeah. The strength portion for, I would say, like the general public isn't going to matter with someone who's very disciplined. Because like myself, I told you we had lunch before this and I got choked out by children. Like 13-year-old like child came in and I was 100 pounds on him probably. And nope. Like that's one thing. I think, was it UFC 2 or 1? What was the one that Hoist won?
I think I'm pretty sure Hoist won 1, 2, and like 4.
But it was the first time the world saw that, this is, there's a lot of bullshit out there, and jiu-jitsu is one of the top martial arts to know.
Yeah, it was, I think, a time for people to be reignited with like the pursuit of martial arts, right? Right before UFC, it was all about like standing up and knocking out 17 people at the same time before anyone else touched you. And I think that was just the vision that we had of how an encounter would go with two skilled fighters, which, not that those are skilled fighters, but you see street fights happen all the time, and it doesn't go that way, right? And then, the UFC was at first stage, and it was kind of underground, right? A lot of people didn't see that live. Doesn't matter, though. That was recorded.
It was like savages watched it.
But exactly. But dude, I still like once a year put it on YouTube free, and I watch it just because of the, again, it's like history, right?
Mm-hmm.
But something amazing that came out of it was this guy, Hoist Gracie, who was maybe 170 pounds, not very mean looking, not very strong, but technical, understood jiu-jitsu, and in that tournament of the best 8, which was no time limit, it was just until someone gave up or got knocked out or submitted. It wasn't like now where there's rounds and recovery. It was like it's a real fight, kind of weight classes. There was no weight classes. That's insane. This skinny kid was able to get triangles and arm bars on guys who you probably would have put your money on them if you saw them. Oh, these two are gonna fight. So it's in the world scrambling, And UFC 1, or the Ultimate Fighter, was produced back then by Hoist's older brother, Rorion Gracie, who was in California. He was connected to Hollywood. He had been like a fight choreographer for the Mel Gibson Lethal Weapons movies. So, he understood kind of like sportsmanship and all of that. And he was the one who came up with the idea of like, we should have a tournament with the best martial artists from all the world. And, we, the Gracie family, are legendary. No one knew about them, right? We are legendary. We'll have Royce Gracie fight in the first UFC. Imagine if he wins. And if he loses, we'll bring Hickson Gracie in as the rematch. The Gracies come back. They didn't need Hickson.
Yeah.
Boys went in there and cleaned up. And I mean, amazing, right, to do that. But Hoist was relatively unknown in like the high-level competition in jiu-jitsu. It's not a name, but he still went in there and did that work and suddenly became so famous and so successful. And again, he went the gi.
He went the full gi.
He went in the gi.
And there's no way you would do that nowadays.
No
Just
way.
Give people more clothing to choke you with.
Absolutely. If you wear a gi and you're going against a black belt who understands how to choke you with your gi, and he's not wearing a gi, he has an immense advantage. And the amount of restriction and control that they can get on you, it's a big difference. The difference between gi and no gi, right?
Yeah, so that's interesting. So like when I'm looking to get back into it, I've heard people go back and forth like, okay, so gi is probably what most people do, right? And it's like, okay, if you do no gi, you're going to learn moves where you don't have to rely upon clothing and stuff, because you do. I think maybe there's been one Ezekiel choke in the UFC without the any clothing to grab onto.
No gi Ezekiel. There's been a few. There's people who do it really well.
But then if you're like, oh, do gi, because someone's always going to be wearing clothing. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a great argument.
Yeah.
And number one, I almost feel like depends who's answering the question to what perspective. If it's that we're going to give advice to an individual, do I do gi, do I do no gi? My answer would be definitely try them both. So you see what we're talking about. But do the one that you have fun with.
That's true.
And there's a percentage of people that are going to enjoy both. There's a percentage of people that are going to be like, no, the gi for whatever X reason. And then there's people who go, oh, I never want to wear that again. I want to do no gi. I don't think you should be forced to do both from the teacher learning and past experience point of view. I think there is benefit to learning both, not necessarily in the sense that you're splitting your time 50-50 during a week worth of training. But I myself, started pretty much exclusively in the gi, fell in love with it, understood well back then, and thought of no gi as like, wow, that's really wild jiu-jitsu, because again, I wasn't practicing. Then eventually started practicing and fell in love with no gi and went, ooh, that gi thing is boring, they hold you that. And over my career, I've gone back and forth, falling in love and reigniting something back. And I think if you get to that point or somewhere to that approach, you are also going to get a little bit of one to the other. Right?
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. It's two different disciplines within the same martial art. And I guess if you just want to keep your interest and keep it fresh, that gives you the ability to do so.
Yeah, and completely different challenges, right? For those who are maybe not aware, but with the gi, you wear the long sleeve, the long pants, and the rules go, hey, you can grab anything. I can grab your gi, I can grab mine, I can grab the belt. And that is able, it allows you to get an amount of pressure and control and grip that you should deal with it once in a while and be like, wow, this is how it feels. Where in the no gi, we wear whatever we want, but you're not allowed to grab their clothing or yourself. So again, you're not relying on grappling base, body-oriented grips. That again, some people used to back in the day look at it like, in a way, maybe less technical. Right, there was something about the gi being an extra factor of technicality, but I disagree. I think you can, in no gi, develop.
Wait, they said no gi's less technical?
Back then, I'm telling you, like decades ago, they would think that for somehow because
that's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
In my opinion.
No, totally understandable. It was just like wilder, sweatier. No gi, people weren't as good at no gi, so it was just different. It's not, again, they didn't see the technicality, they didn't understand the ability to use the body.
There's still a lot of hate though. Like if you're doing something differently than other people want to do it, it's not like I'm even going to have some empathy for it or maybe try it. Some people are just going to hate.
Is that like the mob mentality? That you can't disagree with people.
Like people want to be in this little camp of I wear gi or no gi or it happens in general weightlifting all the time. Like CrossFit gets a lot of shit. Or like bodybuilders will get some hate. Like people are doing things differently than other people, and they're just like, "Oh, it sucks." Sports in general. I played baseball, and people are like, "Oh, it's boring. Like it's not. You're not a real athlete." I'm like, I'm having fun doing
what does that mean?
I don't know.
No, I hate that. And here in the academy, we try to do about 50-50. So we do Monday, Fridays, and Saturdays all day with the gi, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday no gi. So we have a great mix.
Okay.
But I'm always encouraging the person to do what you're having fun doing. That's what matters the most. If you have it just in a calendar, today says gi, I have to do gi, but you're dreading that training session, okay, you have some mental toughness. I'm not saying there's anything wrong there, but it should not be that. Like this is what we like to, in a way, referred to it as like home. You want to be excited about coming here. It shouldn't be that it's just such a straight factor as like, okay, it's a gi or no gi. It should be like you be having fun.
Yeah, but with anything that's really tough, like jiu-jitsu, there were days I'm like, oh man, I don't feel like getting my ass beat today.
Oh, well, yeah.
But you show up.
That's a different factor.
Yeah.
But those are the days that you. But again, that is kind of like that ego fight a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you go and you accomplish it, and it fits a little bit of your ego that you did do it, but also you took the beating that you probably needed to be a little bit more humble and not think about it that next time.
It helped me a lot. I did, and I told you I did jiu-jitsu first before I started doing CrossFit, and the humility I learned from jiu-jitsu helped me go into a CrossFit gym where, like, I was like, oh, I can lift so much weight doing a certain movement like a deadlift, but not with a snatch or a clean. And if you don't properly do the movements and you don't unload the weights properly, you can hurt yourself, which I ended up hurting myself at the start. But knowing, like, kind of set ego aside and getting choked out by like a child or not in any sexist form, but like a woman, you know, generally, because like men, me being much larger than the general woman, would think that I would have an advantage. But there are killers out there, and there are women that are much smaller than I am that will kill me with their hands in 30 seconds.
Absolutely, absolutely.
There's learning that. And you know, also like in the world, when I'm out, I'm super calm. Like, I don't want any confrontation because I don't know what the hell you know.
Yeah. No.
And they don't know what the hell I know either.
True. And that you're absolutely true. And it speaks highly of like how real jiu-jitsu is, right? Back to that conversation of like, you have to perform this athletic skilled movement against someone who's not letting you, who's not in the mood, who, if you are that female, you know, point of view person, is probably a stronger man, bigger. So it's like, how many times have you performed that task in that situation that you are better at whatever this other person is throwing you? It speaks to like the building up of each person. Imagine how that women walks off the mat that day. How amazing that must feel. And then that also transitions.
Confidence, empowered, safe. That's another thing.
But how many times we've had the conversation of like, oh, you're a black belt? You know, first of all, I've had many times the conversation of, oh, you're a black belt. Wow, you probably are like 100 and on street fights. You're probably getting, dude. Once I understood jiu-jitsu, and once you spend so much time, you know, giving back and taking your beatings and all of that, you walk out of there with no chip on your shoulder. You don't want to get into a fight because of what you said. Now, you don't know who's out there and could do, you know, like, what are you? At best, you're king of your own mat, and you're going to be rolling the dice, where you see people who have probably never been into a real fight out there puffing their chest out and giving people dirty looks.
That's usually who you see.
But that's what I'm saying.
Or
like,
psychopaths.
It's so counterintuitive. So like, no, we're not getting into fights because there's no need to. And listen, thankfully, I haven't to practice this that I say so often, but I feel like nowadays, even if, God forbid, we were downtown, someone wanted to get into a fight with me, I would walk away from that. What benefit do I have in using my jiu-jitsu and choking the person that, he doesn't know any jiu-jitsu. He's a white belt. I know I can choke him. Like, what is the actual benefit, opposed to like, what if they do punch me and they do knock me out, or, you know, I hit my head on the, you know, like, combat is, you can be skilled and you're probably going to outperform most people, but there's a lucky shot or someone with a gun now have an excuse to maybe shoot you. So
But the gun thing's interesting because I talked to my one of my buddies who's a cop, and he's a purple belt, and I think he's doing was doing some of the training with the police officers, because one thing about people who know some sort of martial art or like focusing on jiu-jitsu is they become calmer, and they're not put in a situation where they feel like they have to go for their gun, where they can handle themselves with their hands, or like in, you know, just being more calm in a situation, knowing that in the event something happens, I can handle myself, and that's so important.
And I mean, confidence is everything in life, in many sides and in many different fields, but in knowing that, you know, obviously, again, I understand a gun, a knife, but God forbid something happens, I can handle myself. You know, doesn't mean that we're going to be using it against people, but imagine having that feeling as a kid. I remember growing up 13, 14 years old, and, you know, in school, and getting into fights and not, you don't know, right? Like, you did martial arts, you got into a couple of sparrings, but like, can you get into a fight, you know, or being an adult and never having that feeling, and now this person is in the alley looking at you in a funny way, and you're dealing with this adrenaline and these feelings that you've never dealt, that you don't know how to breathe through. Like, it could be, I'm sure, in a way, people's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, where I never worry about it, not in a looking over, but like, okay, you know, again, what you do. Like, if you give me a guitar and you want me to perform a solo, I'll freak out. I don't have the skills. Right, but if you've been playing guitar for 15 years, I'll play something for you, my friend. It's like, what you spend time on is what you're going to excel, right? Again, the repetition and the ability to perform a jiu-jitsu move is a great example of anything in life. You want to be a good musician, you got to play that note to sound perfectly and the scale to sound perfectly a million times before you can do it without even thinking about it, just the feelings that come out in your body,
Yeah.
and whatever you do best, whatever skill you do best at your job, at your task, is because you've done it so many times that now it's almost like second nature, muscle memory.
How has Let me preface this question. So you're talking about something very interesting. Was it Bruce Lee or Musashi? I kind of get confused. The one that said, "I don't fear the man who's practiced 1,000 things once, just the man who's practiced one thing 1,000 times."
That's a Bruce Lee quote. It's
Yeah.
an amazing quote. It's true.
But there's a similar one there's a book. Have you ever seen the book Musashi?
The Five Rings.
No, not the book of the Five Rings, but there's a book called Musashi, and it's like I think it's a fictional account of the man who wrote the book of the Five Rings.
Interesting.
And it's an evolution of a guy who was kind of a piece of shit, like, and then he evolves through this like kind of phoenix rebirth and becomes this man Musashi, where he is exercising these disciplines and focusing on one over and over. And at one point in the book, he like first notices about, like, I think it was like a guy making pottery and just dedicating his life to perfecting how to make this. And then that's how it evolves into him with like his martial arts and weaponry and everything else. So I'm curious how practicing jiu-jitsu has changed how you do everything in life.
Oh, yes, excellent question, and it's changed me in a fundamental way. Like, I've considered myself someone disciplined, through my life, and I've loved and practiced all kind of different sports out of the passion of like competition and different martial arts. But jiu-jitsu very early on taught me again the value of real discipline and the value of understanding that even the bad days on the mat meant something. When I was new and competitive and young and in my head unbreakable, I probably, the way that I saw jiu-jitsu, the way I trained jiu-jitsu with my partners is totally different of what I would do now. Right? It was just every second, I had to be the best one in that fight and the toughest one. And so my professor would see me win every match, kind of like that very selfish.
That's how you were thinking when you started?
Yeah, that's like.
Oh, but you started young.
Young.
Okay.
Young. I mean,
you were the kid choking me out.
No, not that young. So I was 22 when I started.
Oh, you were 22.
Yeah,
okay.
I was 22. But so what happened is I was in that age where I had come out of pretty much like different attempts to perform at a high level in different sports like baseball and basketball, and just came up short, And so I was kind of like sick of competition, sick of the grind, and in a way fearful that it was done. That the grind was done. Now let me focus on work and I'm going to be an adult. Like, I still had all these hopes. And day one in jiu-jitsu brought it right back. And it wasn't like, oh, you're going to be a professional, but it's like, oh, this feels...
You're working at something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're working at something. And no, I'm saying like this felt like that addiction of like, well, I got to get better at this.
Yeah.
But again, in my young, nice athletic career, getting things meant like in 6 months you were really good.
Oh, yeah.
So that's my point. So like week 1 and week 2, I was like, I'm gonna be really good at 6 months. Look, professor, I'm gonna be great. And then that low comes of like, oh, I think I suck. Like maybe this is not for me. But again, eventually in that cycle of up and downs, you look back at the cycle and you go, those times where I felt like trash motivate me to only work harder and look at my mistakes in a way that it exponentially then shot my game to a way that I would have never guessed. Mm-hmm. And then eventually plateau and took a dive down because of injuries or overtraining or, life, X and Y. But again, it eventually showed me like, no, it's just you get up every day and you work hard, and it showed it on me, and then it very quickly showed it on the mat for me, right? Because I would be seeing these students who were disciplined in practicing the move even when it seemed boring, because you're letting the other person but taking it seriously, and the success and the evolution in their skills that they were having, opposed to, when I started teaching the kids who were just goofing around and not into it. Poor guys, right? Bad time, wrong choice for the movement. They never evolved. So like, it's happening to me. It's happening to the kids. This is not coincidence. This is science. This is the science of grappling. This is the science of submitting someone against their will. And there's no shortcuts. The only way is understanding the theory, repping the skill, athletic movement that this theory provides you with, and then repping it so insanely that your mind can go, oh, armbar, I got you. But you're thinking about how he's going to escape the armbar, and if you're going to switch into a triangle or one omoplata. Like I use the example to the kids about like tying your shoelaces. Tying your shoelaces could be quite complicated when you're starting out, right? And we have all struggled with it. Now, 5, 10, 20, 30 years later, I can tie my shoe and have a full-blown up conversation, and the only signal I think to myself is tie the shoe, right? There's no like, oh, let me grab one end. Like, it's just millions and millions of muscle memory reps. That's what you're striving for jiu-jitsu. You want to think butterfly sweep. And your body's not thinking about grab here. Your body's like, I got you. By the way, think what we're going to do when we land there. And there's no surprises. Oh, we're going to land on the mound because that's where we land. Or boom, the path opens the next door. Or maybe he hip escapes a little bit. So then I got a knee cut and land on side. But I don't have to figure this thing on the fly because we've been on side a million times. So once we get on side, we're going to go. And I mean, how we can block moves in and out is totally a choice. But that's jiu-jitsu at the highest level.
Yeah.
Right? Something that day one is impossible. Day one, you just want to learn how one move works. But you have this ocean of techniques with people swimming next to you. And you're like, what the hell is this?
The intellectual side of it is unbelievable. I've never experienced any like athletic endeavor that was like a game of chess.
Yes.
And I know chess is like a common parallel to it. There's a guy, I can't think, Josh something.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Searching for Bobby Fischer.
Yeah, it was
absolutely.
him. Yeah, he was a child chess prodigy. And I think he's at Marcelo, what's his last name? Garcia.
Marcelo Garcia.
Yeah, he's at Marcelo Garcia's gym in New York. And he just ate it up. And then you have John Danaher, who's one of the brilliant minds in jiu-jitsu, who was a Columbia professor and dedicates his life now to jiu-jitsu. And it's just... I remember like when I would be rolling, there's the physical aspect of it, but the mental aspect was super taxing as well. Because all that stuff you're saying where I'm like thinking, okay, how do I get out of this? Or not having enough tools in my toolbox to get out of something and wanting to know like the next thing and being patient. But it is so intellectual.
And the drawing parallels between chess and jiu-jitsu is super fun because in that intellectual layer, they have so many commonalities where the biggest difference between them is that if we're playing chess, we have the rules that you and I will move one piece at a time, and we will agree on a certain amount of time that's running backwards or open time, and there's all these rules, where in jiu-jitsu, that is happening while I am moving my piece faster than you can come up with a solution with a new problem if it is an unfair matchup, which is what takes it to the next level. And it might be for people who haven't just practiced any type of grappling, easy to draw the parallels in like the technique like we're discussing it, but maybe the one thing that is hard to understand is how that part of your mindful conversation goes away while you're exhausted, right? Because there's a point where you're not thinking about the solution. You're like, I don't think I can breathe. Or you might be looking at the clock. Oh, there's 2 minutes left. Or
it's a great exercise of using your mind under stress.
Yes, it's like moving. If done correctly,
it's
like moving meditation.
Because some people do freak out, and we were talking earlier. That's how you get hurt.
That's how you get hurt. 100%. Yeah. So the most dangerous thing on a jiu-jitsu mat, or in a grappling mat, is free falling weight coming your way, and it might be caused by some twisting, it might be caused by a takedown. Hey, it might be caused by a different training partner running into your legs, you never saw them. I mean, again, those are things that we can almost, those are accidents, right? In jiu-jitsu, we try to mitigate a little bit of that by not starting necessarily every time standing up, but sometimes sitting down and getting rid of that factor. But then the other big number is like you said, someone who's using way too much strength, who bridges the wrong way. You see it in like twisting locks, like kimuras and stuff, or even leg locks, heel hooks. If you don't understand what the lock is doing to your body, and you throw yourself and rotate 180 or 360 degrees the wrong way, you just tore your own knee with your upper body weight. Like your partner might not even be his fault. So, you see these, and again, the challenge is when you come in as a white belt, that for me as the teacher, as the leader of the establishment, is like my excitement. A new friend, a new client, someone who's starting. And again, we have people who do it for a month and leave. We have people who've done it for like 3 years with us, and for me, it's so exciting to see again that person day one and who they become through that practice, through that discipline, through the competitions, through their own work. And next thing you know, they're standing next to you like, man, look at this guy, like, dude, that's awesome. But again, as a young man, as a competitor, it doesn't matter if you don't have the tools. You're here to compete, right? Like, it's very difficult to have this conversation day one, and the other person, like, I have it every day one, and they're looking at me like, yeah, like they do, they're totally, I got you, bro, and then they go crazy, and I, understandable because I did that and worse, but that is the danger. So that is my job also. When I teach, I'm like walking around and be like, hey, stop. You see your knee? No, it's fine. Oh, yeah. Okay, you're right. Okay, like, dude, were you about to slam this guy? We don't do that. No, you're off the mat. Come back off the couch.
Yeah,
like.
I'd imagine as a teacher, it's great to have that enthusiasm and that want of them wanting to be really great, but also learning how to reel them back without discouraging them.
Oh man, that is the challenge. I love that enthusiasm. And I welcome it, but I welcome it with some concern. And I address that concern right away. I'm like, dude, there is such thing as burning out too quick, because there's people
and everything.
And that happened exactly. But that happened to me, right? I started jiu-jitsu. Next thing you know, I wanted to do like the morning and the night class. And listen, if you were like me, 22, and like I had come from like a couple of knee injuries, so I had like probably like 15, 20 pounds that I shouldn't really have on me. I haven't really been working out, and I want to do twice a day for 2 weeks. Dude, you're not an MMA fighter. Your body starts.
Well, you were doing twice a day?
Meaning I wanted to, right? Like I was so addicted, like right away, that's what I wanted to. I did not. But I'm saying I understand that drive. Ooh. And there's people who come and go like, oh, I wanna come to this class. Be like, dude, no matter how hard you train for the next month or two, you'll only get this good. And hey, props to you. If you dial it down and you don't get hurt and you slowly keep progressing, a year from now, you'll be 10 times better than this guy.
Yeah.
So it's like having that perspective. And again, there's so many sports. You can get an injury in any sport, but there's a lot of sports that it's kind of hard to get hurt. Like, you can push it and just let the cardio of it be like the determining factor of what you can do. In jiu-jitsu, it's intense, but you can like take a round off and you go again 100%. So you have to be careful.
Jiu-jitsu is crazy because it's the only martial art where you can actually spar full throttle and be fine. Like, you're not going to go to a Muay Thai and spar every day. You're going to be in a coma. Yeah. Like, your brain's not going to work.
Yeah. No, I think by far that is the best quality of jiu-jitsu and what made me fall in love with it, right? Like, I did all these other martial arts that I really like and I still enjoy, but that was always also the factor, right? When it came to actual sparring, you had to be careful, and I understood it, right? I understood be careful, but again, I had also been in a few scraps where you weren't careful and it felt different. There was some bridges there that needed to be crossed. And judo does a great job kind of at that intensity.
No, I guess judo, yeah.
But it's hard in the body. But jiu-jitsu kind of like captures that, man. In jiu-jitsu, since again, it's on the ground, you spar day one, you get some of that.
That sparring day one is so, like, you go to class, you learn like a move. And then it's like, okay, we're going to roll. And you're the greenest guy there. And it's like, I mean, just try something.
You're the bait.
Yeah, you're the
bait.
And then, but then you get to be that person where, like, you go after a few months and you got some tools, and the new guy comes in and you do it to him. Yeah. Not to humiliate that person, but it gives you an opportunity to actually get a move down, like in a real situation.
And to me, that's like such an important part of the journey. That should be an aha moment, all right? I don't know what others people's first experience were, but I remember mine. And again, I was super curious, super into it, obviously. But that first time, everyone was looking at me a little funny, And again, I wasn't the smartest. I went hard. So if you have a young person who's coming hard at you, you kind of gotta go hard. Like, if you relax, that's when you get hurt. That's right. And so again, I didn't set myself necessarily for success. but it was rough, right? Like I think a big percentage of people would have left that day and gone like, yeah, screw this. Where I walked to the parking lot and started throwing up next to my car because of the intensity, and be like, I gotta come back and do this again. You know, like I totally fell in love with it. So I have that conversation with all the time. Like when someone comes here the first day, I give them a hug. You know, I tell them all these funny stories. I you know, hey, you see that guy with?
Oh, you trick them?
No, not trick them. No, like I'm super sweet to them.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
Before we kill you.
Yeah.
Over and over.
Day one, I usually put you with like my highest belt, which nowadays is usually like a brown or a purple, who pretty much gives you a private class.
Oh, okay.
Right. So you get a great experience because and it all built up to what? I would have this conversation with people and I'd be like, do you remember your first day? Or someone would come in and I would look at them and be like, oh, someone here. So I would look at them and be like, you remember your first day? Yeah, it was a little rough. He's like, yeah, you know that guy Ryan, he killed me. Like, I remember, dude. I told him something that he shouldn't have gone too hard. Yeah, he went a little hard. You're like, that's what you want to do to this new person. They're like, I'm like, what? Have some empathy. How would you like to be? So like, if you have that, you know, you're so excited to try your moves on someone who's not expecting them, right? Which is the other thing about jiu-jitsu. You end up rolling with like the same partners, the same community all the time, and there's something about rolling with the same person over and over. It kind of like cancels out. Now you know, understand each other well. You know what you do well.
You're not supposed to do that, right?
You do. You end up rolling with the same person all the time.
Really?
But I'm saying like it almost staggers your fight because you know each other so well. Where when someone new comes in, it's a different dynamic. You know what this person is good at, and when you're good enough, your blue, purple belt, a new white belt comes in, you're just like, what should I practice? Right? So the question is, and that's how I felt. In the old school, this is how my professor brought me up a little bit. In the old school, a new guy would come in, you know, good shaped looking guy, and play college or something. Some tough guy is coming. Hey, give him the special today. You know, you tune him up pretty well, so he didn't walk out of there like, oh, you know, I did pretty good. Like, you tuned him up. And whatever, you know, the general says something, I perform. I am more of the thought that you can still put a technical beating on the guy without using any strength, with a smile on your face, and that's even more impressive.
Oh, for sure.
Because when someone's a douche to you like that, that's almost like if you do it like, dude, that guy was a fucking douche. You know, like, he was so rough. When someone does it with a smile on their face, you're like, this fucking guy.
Yeah.
You know, like,
no, it's alarming when someone does that to you with what looks like little perceived effort, and you're like, uh-oh. Yeah. I'm not safe outside.
This is a trained assassin.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of them. I tell people, like, if I ever have a daughter, she's going to do jiu-jitsu. Because even someone I think that has done it, maybe, if someone did it 5 days a week for a month, they're going to be more lethal on the street than someone who's never been exposed to any grappling of any sort.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
Yeah, that's true. That's totally true. But again, like, not to sound different, but I what we want to preach is like your jiu-jitsu is so good that it's going to be like an aura, hopefully, that people don't fuck with you, right? But it's still going to be so good that when you see the problem coming, you get out of there. Because people who take these beatings are people who hang in situations that they shouldn't.
Yeah, it's true.
Right, these people's on your face, they keep pushing you. Dude, get out of here. Like, dude, I leave, don't get too close. And then, again, if you touch me, listen, if I'm telling you stand back and you're not giving me this much space, well, okay, then we're doing something, right? Like, but we want to even understand to analyze that, so that's not even a threat.
Yeah, it's surprising how many elite martial artists I've met that always say, in the first sign of conflict, try to leave.
100%. Dude, it's a lose-lose. It's a lose-lose. God forbid, again, we get into a fight because I have to. I couldn't back up my life. I choked the guy. God forbid he breaks his head on something. Something awful happened. We go to a court and they go, oh, this guy is a trained assassin. He's been training for Listen to the podcast. Listen to the podcast with Wes and how he describes it.
That's the plot of Gone in 60 Seconds. Or not, Con Air, sorry.
Con Air, yeah,
exactly. At the beginning, he's a special forces guy, and they say that he had deadly weapons because he had special training.
That's what lawyers do, right? Like, that's what they're going to do. They're going to be like, what?
That's me, too.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what you would do. You'd be like, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
Who got into a fight with him? Well, why would my client get into a fight with an assassin like that? It'd be like, because he was drunk, dude.
Yeah.
Like.
So I want to go back to something you were saying earlier about theory. Now, I don't want to say the school I went to. I talked earlier about it, but this wasn't something that was discussed. And one thing I actually learned in doing CrossFit too, and it's kind of clicked recently, is intent. So when I'm going through a workout and someone puts together a workout, it's like, okay, first of all, you need to understand the intent. This is the like strain you're going to be put under. This is what we're trying to focus on. And the same application has to go for your use of theory of this is what the move is for, and even in law. So like learning in law school, here's the general law, but there's intent and theory behind it that you need to understand for its application.
Absolutely.
So now that you're saying that, I'm like, damn, like I really want to go back to a jiu-jitsu gym and understand more about the theory behind why this move evolved, like how it was created, and what application is it used for.
Yeah,
that's so important.
So important, and it
just clicked right now. Like when you were talking about it, I was like, "What the hell?"
and what's funny, and we kind of touch on this a little bit when we were having lunch, which is like the part that I didn't expect, the part that I enjoy the most of these last 3 years owning this place and you know creating this space that we call home for athletes to train,
which is beautiful and very clean.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We try very hard. It's like exactly that you know, jiu-jitsu is not so easy to just box up into one experience. So you can go to 10 different academies and get 10 totally different experiences, right? So you might go to an academy where their focus is like whatever. I mean, let's use any example, right? What I want here is I want a place that everyone knows that they're safe. I want a place that, like you said, is clean. People want to be here. People, you know, have a good time. But I want it to be a place where we share information, because, I mean, jiu-jitsu can be seen as this, like, unpredictable, you know, athletic feast between two really strong guys. But it can easily, and most importantly, be broken down into theory of why moves works. So we spend, like, as far as like our teaching, we do, which not academies do that. In our weekly teaching, we do Monday, Wednesday, Fridays from 6 to 7 at a 1 hour of drilling, which is when we just not positional sparring, which is what maybe you think it's like. No. So like if we're working on an arm bar, no, you do warm up with like a okay. But I'm saying like we talk about an arm bar and where the arm bar works for, and and you spend an hour working on that, and not only that, but working on how to combine the moves. So like the idea is that we want to develop good jiu-jitsu practitioners, good individuals, good people, but also good teachers. Mm-hmm. I want everyone who's in there to become a good teacher and pass this knowledge down. And again, what's rewarding for me is that people come here and like what we do, right?
Well, that's the best. See one, do one, teach one. I think applies in every case.
Yeah. And I mean, think how crazy it is if you ask someone to, like, if you get an athlete to perform a snatch, right? Make it look so beautiful, make it look so easy. You ask someone to just be like, yeah, come on, use your strength, make it look like that. That's what you're asking someone in jiu-jitsu to do when they spar, if you're not teaching them the right technique and why this works. It's a little, you know, selfish, but what is the challenge, and we keep going back to it, is that what do you teach someone brand new? That person that needs to learn everything but knows nothing, right? It's
pretty overwhelming.
Challenge. It is. It totally is. And again, you know, before we opened the academy, I had the challenges of being just a kids teacher, an adults teacher, competing a little bit, a jiu-jitsu athlete. Once we open here, it's like, no, now what I'm focused on is like the product, what we make. Like that person that came in day one with nothing, how good are they in 6 months? How good are they in 1 year? You know, like, are you seeing progress? And is the progress?
So your special sauce is like the experience and the progression path.
Yeah, dude, and I don't want to call it a special sauce. We call it here like good vibes, and the rule.
Good vibes.
Good vibes. We just have good vibes here. That's
is that on the wall somewhere?
It's somewhere. Like our motto is like good vibes. We're one of the only academies, and again, now more people are doing it. But like, you're from another team, come.
That's pretty appropriate for being by the beach too.
Yeah, visitors come. There's so many places that charge a drop-in. Train. Baragi, you know, like we're about like.
Well, you don't charge a drop-in?
We don't charge a drop-in.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We don't charge nothing. I don't care about that. I care like, oh, you love jiu-jitsu and you're here and you're visiting, you came to Fort Lauderdale and on your vacation you want to roll and you're excited to be here, man, enjoy it.
Yeah, but you choke them out and then you get them like worried and then they have to join. That's the whole process.
Yeah, you know, but you know
I
what,
got you.
You know what happens too? Like you said, maybe they went to like a different environment.
Yeah.
And they come here, and again, there's people who thrive in that other environment. There's people who want to be controlled and want to be like super intense. Okay, you probably are not gonna like it here because we're kind of again good vibes, relax, let's have fun. But there's people who have the experience and come here and they're like, dude, what's wrong with you? You know, I run this academy, and it might be obvious because I run it how I want to run it.
Yeah.
Right? I treat people how I want to be treated. This is not saying anything, but like the old school system was what? You get a lead. This lead comes into you. The lead calls you. You pick up the phone. You tell them nothing. No price. You don't tell them nothing. You get them to come here at Monday at 6 p.m. Okay, boom. You achieve that. They show up to your door. You've gone over a couple hurdles. You don't let them do your class. You got your right-hand man, your salesman, to say hello, and they sit with them, and the class is happening, they explain, and then you take them to the little office, lock, and how can we get you into jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
And you don't let them walk out of there until they sign a 6-month agreement, and now they're a member. And now you got them for 6 months. That's the old school. I mean, not everyone did it like that, but I'm saying that's like a traditional approach.
No, there's places that still do that.
Yeah. Dude, I was that right-hand man for like 10 years. So I got so sick of selling. And I was the right-hand man and the manager, right? So people would call the next day, right? And be like, hey, I need to cancel. I got like 3 days to cancel. Don't tell that guy who helped me. He was so nice. I feel so bad for him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm that dude, yo. Like,
I've made purchases like that before.
Saying, I felt so bad that I talked this person into doing something that they, that it wasn't for them. Like I felt a little guilty, but whatever. That was what was required from me. So once I moved here, I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. Neither am I making someone do that. So someone calls, I go, hey, yeah, come do the class. You mean like the actual class? Yeah, the class. And then they leave. I don't talk to them about prices or something. Yeah, come back again. Do it again. Because here's how I think about it. I don't have a little time to like be the manager. Right, like I want to be focused on on developing what jiu-jitsu is and like the experience that people get. So I'm like invested there. I'm like, if you don't come 2 times for free, you're not gonna be my client.
Yeah.
I don't have contracts. So what? I'm gonna hassle you for 1 month, and then after a month you're gonna call me to cancel it, and that's a relationship. I don't want that. Come a couple times, fall in love with the place, and then be like, dude, let me pay you. I get here. It's funny. Like my business partner hates me for it, but I get like 1 or 2 people once a week that I go, dude, I don't want to bother you, man. I love you. Who do I talk to about paying? And I'm like, no, it's me. He's like, oh shit, can I pay you? Dude, I've been training for like a week. I'm like, no, I know. Like it.
Yeah.
But again, people like that, right? It's not about the money. It's like, dude, it's like you're supporting this thing that we all love. If you can't support it, I get it.
I wouldn't say it's not about the money, but it's not the focus of the money.
It's not right.
Yeah,
good point.
Obviously, you got to keep the lights on.
Yes.
Your facility looks great. You got to be upgrading. But I love that mentality. So I was put in a position, like I was a lawyer for an aerospace company, but I was very personable and I could negotiate contracts like in people like person to person. So I'd start flying around the world, go to these airlines and sit in the room and be able to negotiate contracts and then sell them on products. But I was also what may some people consider a bad salesman, because I did it with the same mentality you did, where I'm like, listen,
do you really need it? Like empathy?
No, like I'm going to develop a trust with you where when I say something that you need it, you're going to believe that you need it. And if you don't, then you don't need it. And that's kind of like how the same mentality like you're talking about, where it's like, hey, you can join. That's fine. I'm not going to lock you into some contract and make you commit. Like you were here a week, right? And now all of a sudden I'm asking you for 6 months of membership, which is insane. I go back and forth. So like from the business standpoint, I can put on my business hat and be like I'm a consultant now. So I'm like, I know recurring revenue models where it's good that we know this revenue is coming in for the next series of months. But then from a customer service standpoint, it's like locking you in and making you commit is so weird because I want you to be paying. Like I want you to want to pay.
Yeah. No, and listen, number one, anyone who's listening and starting a business and running a jiu-jitsu academy, I don't encourage you to do what I just said. Do what you want. But it's so funny, right? Because to me, at the end of the day, and I think I am not married to the idea, and I know I have room to grow in the being an owner and managing it better. I'm only really been doing it on my own for 3 years, and I'm getting better and better and better.
Right, it's its own journey.
This is gonna change possibly. I don't know how to do it right. When I have better staff, people that I trust, this is just how I'm doing it now, and I love how it's working out.
But your model again may not be like work for others. There's a notorious, you know, the company Patagonia.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so they have no hierarchy. Like there's no bosses.
That's the beer, right?
What?
That's the gear.
Yeah, the gear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like no bosses. They have like surfing half days. It's super laid back.
Dude.
Lots of business consultants or I think university have come in to try to study their model because everyone's so happy working there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work for anybody else.
Well, and I was gonna say to kind of maybe hits on that touch is like the reason I do it like I do is not because I don't want to work and this and that. It's because I believed in my product.
Believe in your product.
And my
right?
product is like jiu-jitsu, is this match that I love. So like I know how much it's worth. And I know what I'm charging you is a sale. Like I know once people do it for a month or two, and again, some people for 10 years, I have people who've been following like us for like more than that they would trust us with their life. You know, like, but their pain is like, it's not the same. That's what I'm saying. Like the value for what they're getting. So that's what I see for new people. Like it's not that I want your 160 because so what is the other side of that? Sometimes you go, hey, 6 months, and someone calls you to cancel and go, hey, I never been there. Dude. Can you cancel me? And you gotta make a decision. Do you cancel them? Which is again, I don't even have contract, but I think you should, right? Or you keep charging them the 6 months because they signed up for it. And my argument for it is like, dude, okay, you get those 5 months, sure, awesome. But that person is never coming back to you.
And they're not going to speak for you either.
Exactly. Like, and they're going to actually speak bad about you.
Yeah.
Instead, if you let them go, when they want to come back to jiu-jitsu, they're not going to go anywhere else. They're going to come back to the guy who was reasonable. And now maybe they're there for 2 years. So, like, are you sure you're not shortchanging yourself for life? Like, jiu-jitsu is for life. Yeah. Like, it might not work for you this year, but maybe 10 years from now, you're living in Miami and you're like, dude, I love how that guy thinks. I love it. Or maybe you have a friend, you know, but if you hate me, you're telling everyone in your neighborhood, don't go to that guy, dude. Like, don't sign a contract, right? Like, that's how I see it. So it's like because I believe in what we give here as an experience because I see the results that people are getting, dude.
That's a responsibility of you two to communicate to the customers, clients or students, whatever you want to call them, in order to ensure that they understand that what they're paying is the amount, like that's worth it, 100% worth it, which gets people to pay even more.
Yes. I mean, we're not either like a super crazy expensive school. Again, I don't want to say because we do it for the money because it's a profit. It's a business, and again, it pays for my passion, right? Like I gotta eat, but you know. It's something like we can do like a survey and you can ask our clients and they're not gonna feel that they get treated in any way differently better because of money. You know, like it's such a what we like to refer as like a family atmosphere that we really enjoy it.
All right, I guess we'll have to wrap it up a little early.
Yes.
It flew by pretty quick.
Unless people are gonna want to hate in the background, just kids killing each other in this jiu-jitsu class.
I'm for sure gonna have to get some time with you again. We'll probably have to do like over Zoom or something.
Do it, anything.
But I mean, there's so much more I want to get into on like the business side, and then like you starting jiu-jitsu and like what you tell people to like how they should be getting into it and the importance of it. Like there's like endless topics.
I agree.
No,
time flew by. I can't believe it.
I know.
We probably could do like double that.
No, see now you understand how you can go 3 hours and just like keep going and going. Just
you did a great job, man. You did a great job. It was so much fun talking to you.
So did you. All right. We'll just wrap this up and then we'll do more another time.
Hell yeah.
Awesome,
brother.
Thanks.
Thank you.